Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 19th of April, 2020. Here we are. It's a Sunday show. We're bringing you world news from all around the world.
Every time Michelle goes live, she's the one who speaks, and I never know what to do with my face.
Just wear it. Just wear your face. Own it. Own the face. Hey, but you know what's so funny about that?
Haven't you seen the people? No, the people on the media, right? Like,
oh
in
my
between
gosh.
views, they just
like
smile.
Okay, but that's actually a really good practice for you for what I do for a solid 2 hours.
Okay.
You do it for the first, 10 seconds and lose your mind.
Yeah, but you smile.
I don't know what to do with my face if I'm not talking.
Your face begins to look like a skunk for after a while. And I never know if, it's like...
Maybe
if this is the news,
like a skunk.
Kind of like
I smell a fart.
I wasn't going to say that word, and I wasn't going to go there.
Well, a skunk, fart. Same
you
thing.
got a nice
knew what you were trying to say
there with your little. You got the black and gold earrings.
These are real gold flecks.
Yeah,
from Alaska. Friends of ours brought those back.
Yep.
And I've got a leopard print.
I know.
Flower, because that
Meow.
appears in nature.
Meow. Appears in nature.
I don't do animal
flower.
prints ever, but this came from Grandma Marilyn, and this came from our neighbor Eileen, and I thought, you know what?
Works.
I'm gonna own it. There is nothing that I can't pull off, even if I don't usually like it. Mm-hmm. So don't go sending me animal print stuff, okay? Because I'm just trying not to be wasteful here.
All right. So AG Barr decries arrest of Hong Kong democracy protesters. So we were talking to some friends yesterday. We were cleaning up some more brush from our little tornado around here.
It was a tornado.
In a little Daihat Soha. And we got to talking about the coronavirus and conspiracies around it. Not even theories, but conspiracies. People using it for their own advantage. And one of our friends, I did not bring it up, said what was happening. Go ahead. What was happening before the coronavirus?
What was happening?
Oh, come on. Michelle.
Oh, Hong Kong. No, I actually answered it correctly yesterday when he asked. You said what? He gave me a little bit more of a lead-in. He said what was happening
But I
China.
gave you a lead-in of the title of this.
I thought maybe you were shifting. I'm saying, he said, what was happening in China before all of this? And I'm like, Hong Kong. You just said what was happening. Well, I don't know. The fires in Australia.
I read AG Barr decries arrest of Hong Kong democracy protesters. I had just had you put it into...
I wasn't connecting the dots.
I see that because you got too many tiger print paws on your body. All right, so... Yeah, so even normal people who aren't really into,
I thought maybe you were shifting.
The truther movement, well, they are still looking. They know that China, nobody trusts China, and I'm really, really, really glad about that. But this weekend, China made some arrests, kind of quietly, or tried to be quiet, but we're not going to be quiet about it. And the Trump administration is not going to be quiet about it. So late Saturday, William Barr issued a statement decrying the arrests, which include former lawmakers and charges for protesters dating back to last summer. Mm-hmm. I condemn the latest assault on the rule of law and liberty of the people of Hong Kong, says AG Barr. These events show how antithetical the values of the Chinese Communist Party are to those we share in the Western liberal democracies. Barr tied the arrest to other recent criticisms of China, including concerns about espionage, failure to alert the world after coronavirus, and I have a lot of countries are saying, China, seriously. You had a plague, you had a pandemic, and I would say it's like you had a pandemic and you didn't tell anybody, but it's like you did and you didn't. And so, yeah, it's a weapon at that point. Okay, these actions, along with its malign influence activity and industrial espionage here in the United States, and demonstrate once again that the Chinese Communist Party cannot be trusted. And talking about the espionage, China has people everywhere, and they've got a couple billion people, 1.6 billion people, I think, and they use their people pretty good. They send them They brainwash them, and then they send them to other countries, and then they try to make recruits of people in those countries.
It's like a cult.
It's like a cult. It's like they have communism or something. Like recently, a Harvard professor was found to be on their rolls. We know Hollywood's all on their rolls. You cannot watch a movie without. And I like Chinese people. I like Asian people. But the fact that they place them there, I don't like that. Okay, I don't like that China is narrating and twisting the lines of all the movies to make themselves look good and make them, put in a hero just so you can be like, oh, China. Here's the thing. If it'd be one thing to say Chinese people are great, it's another thing that if they make it out to be China and the Communist Party is great.
Right.
And you can't conflate the two.
That's a very good differentiation.
Right.
I just made that word up. So pause. Les
like
O'Connor
that really
on Facebook
stupid movie with Matt Damon, The Wall.
Today is his son's Daniel's 15th birthday.
Happy birthday, Daniel.
Happy birthday, Daniel. It's our cousin James's 13th birthday.
Quarantine.
Yeah.
I want to have a birthday quarantine. And actually, I was thinking that it might be my cousin James's best birthday because it's all about him and his little family.
I know, yeah.
And he took all that money that they were going to spend at the trampoline park and got us up TV.
I mean, if you had a choice, you can have a party at the trampoline park, big TV, and...
The high-profile roundup Saturday rattled the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong and signaled that Beijing is taking an even harder line against Hong Kong, a semi-autonomous city ruled by China. Okay, so let me get another article here on the Hong Kong protests to kind of give you a little more detail. Hong Kong police arrested 15 activists, including veteran politicians, a publishing tycoon, and senior baristas in raids on Saturday in the biggest crackdown on the city's pro-democracy movement since the outbreak of mass protests last year. And I do hope Patriot Girl, if she gets around to it, she can make a segment on this. Among those detained on charges of illegal assembly were Democrat Party founder Martin Lee, 81, and I have a picture of him. Let me try to make him big. He's the man right here, Martin Lee. Poor guy. Why would you? They arrested an 81-year-old.
I don't understand it. They don't care. They don't care.
Millionaire publishing tycoon Jimmy Lai, 71, and former lawmaker and barista Margaret Ng.
Isn't that like nitrogen on the periodic table or something?
Just give me one vowel in there, and I'm good. Okay, 72, according to the media and the political sources. Going after these older people, that is like a high crime and misdemeanor. Mm-hmm. Like, seriously, that's a death sentence, and they want them to shut up. And that is, I have no words at that point for that craziness. In all, one serving and 9 former legislators were arrested. Including veteran activist Lee Chek-yang and Yung Sung. Democrat legislator Claudia Mo, who was not among those detained, said the government, led by Chief Executive Carrie Lam, was trying to introduce a ring of terror in Hong Kong. And they're doing this now.
Right.
Because people aren't going to go on the streets because of coronavirus. Right. And these are little evil minions. What can we do with the coronavirus? I know, arrest the Hong Kong protesters. Before, they would have shut down. With this amount of arrest, Hong Kong would not be operating. Mm-hmm. There would be, everyone would have left their homes. Mm-hmm. Everyone would be on the streets. Mm-hmm. But China is so evil.
Yes, they are.
They are doing whatever they can to try to silence and take down the local opposition, Mo said, pointing to upcoming legislative elections in September, in which Democrats, the good guys, hope to win back veto power in the city assembly. Hong Kong Police Superintendent Carrie Lam told... Lam Wing Ho. I think it's a different one. Her name is just Lam Wing Ho, not Carrie Lam. Okay. Told reporters that 14 people aged between 24 and 81 were arrested on charges of organizing and participating in unlawful assemblies, as we covered August 18th through October 1st and 20th last year. Those days saw big and at times violent protests across the city. 5 of the 14 were also arrested for publicizing unauthorized public meetings. Police sources later confirmed the arrest of Lao Ying-chung, the only serving legislator to be caught up in the raid so far. They were all due to appear in court on May 18th, but Lam said more arrests are possible. Some of those arrested on Saturday were released on bail. The raids marked the biggest crackdown on the pro-democracy movement since the beginning of the anti-government protests across the former British colony in June last year. Marchers initially targeted, and we talked about that. You guys kind of know what the protests were all about. And so I'm kind of scrolling through the feed here when you got like the Hong Kong arrest.
It feels it's very suspect that the protests were happening, and then all of a sudden coronavirus came and like shut it down.
I'm going to get there. I can spell arrest. 2 R's, by the way, 1 S.
My chair got switched. I was sitting there like a midget. Like, what? I don't know who.
So, Britt Hume tweeted this out. Just when you thought you couldn't hold a lower opinion of China, amid pandemic, Hong Kong arrests major pro-democracy figures. Major. Foreign governments condemn Hong Kong protests from routers. These arrests are a crisis for the free world, not just Hong Kong. Politically motivated, trumped-up charges. Many of this list have spent their entire political lives advocating peaceful resistance. The world cannot stand by.
And here's the thing. They aren't going to stand idly by, and they might have prior to the virus. List. But we're all angry at China right now, and we're just, it's like anything they do wrong, we're on it.
Yeah.
We're going to take advantage of it. We're going to shut it down. These are beautiful faces.
Yeah. Remember the protests. Remember the umbrella protests, and they're out. Democrats gathered outside of Changsha Wan police station around 2 p.m. on Saturday to protest against the arrests. Police on the scene warned the crowd that they may be in violation of the Prevention and the Control of Disease Ordinance. Of course they are. Of course they are. Of course that's why you made the arrest, so that you could dismantle any sort of protest. Of course you did this. You guys are so wicked and so evil. It's like evil is in your blood. You have had transfusion from normal human being to just evil blood inside of you. You're just so evil. And you know what? I curse you in the name of Jesus, and I say, peace, be still to the Hong Kong government. I say, release them in the name of Jesus.
Wow.
The group chanted protest slogans such as 5 demands, not one less, Hong Kongers resist. And I just want to know that we stand with Hong Kong. Yes, I stand with Hong Kong. League of Social Democrats Vice Chair and Human Rights Front Conveyor Jimmy Sham said the arrests show that the government was oppressing protesters indiscriminately. The police have arrested peaceful, rational, and non-violent activists, including the Democrat Party's Martin Lee and Yang Shum. They are oppressing both peaceful and valiant Hong Kongers indiscriminately. Hong Kongers shall continue to resist, peaceful and valiant, undivided.
Wow. Yes, I like that word.
Pro-government group Defend Hong Kong also gathered outside Chung Sha Wan. Tried so hard. Police station to celebrate the arrests as they quarreled with pro-democracy groups. They showed signs which praised the police force and brought champagne. Yay for them. Brought champagne for the police.
Okay.
Police held a press conference and said blah, 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 blah. So this is a reign of terror of the police. So these have been mostly peaceful protests. You got 81-year-old founding member here.
Wow.
All right, guys. So pray. Say some prayers for the Hong Kong protesters here that have been
So
arrested.
in the comments we have here, Ripaz says, "Imagine the size of Chinese prisons if they arrest protesters, they'll be massive." KS says Xi Jinping is once another Tiananmen. It's very true. Let's see. KS says Free China Uprising. Gonzola says China released the bioweapon on Hong Kong. That is a theory that some of us might be really suspicious that might be true. Stefan says it's China. It's always suspect, Michelle. Yes. Very true.
Very true. Very true. All right. So, speaking of China, I got a video here, I think, with... I thought I did.
I have some videos you brought up.
Oh, I know what this is. Steve Bannon here.
Oh, wait. You can't even hardly hear that anyway.
Right.
It's not good video.
So, Steve Bannon, God bless his little heart, he's got this program, World War Pandemic. He's been China hawk for a while. He has been exposing China for a long time, and he is definitely using this as a great time to continue to expose China, which I'm all about. You know, ever since I saw the movie China Cry when I was a kid, and they arrested people because they were Christians, I was like, down with the CCP. I didn't know I just think the Communist Chinese Party. So I'm like all about it. I'm like, take this time, down with China. That's what I'm all about.
President raised such an issue before. Your reaction?
One of the key phrases the president used, and I think if I was in Beijing, I'd be very nervous right now. He said, knowingly responsible. Knowingly responsible. And I think, let's set aside for a second, this is a biological Chernobyl, but let's set aside a second the lab, and did it leak out of the lab with a technician on trying to find a vaccine. Let's leave aside the fact that were they doing gain of function experiments there against everybody's knowledge. So let's leave aside for a second whether they have an offensive biological weapons program. That's all going to be investigated. As Pompeo and Senator Cotton says, that's all now being investigated by intelligence services, by the World Health Organizations, etc. Let's go back to knowingly responsible. And let's be precise. This is not the Chinese people, and this is not China. The Chinese people, the decent, hardworking people of China, are the single biggest victims here. This is about the Chinese Communist Party, and they are knowingly responsible for what happened. This is an act of commission. They knew, as a matter of fact, no later than the last week of December of 2019, they knew they had human transmission and community spread. The free Chinese in the Republic of Taiwan, the Republic of China and Taiwan, notified the World Health Organization on January 31st. One of my broadcasting partners...
Wait a minute! She's in her house! I thought it was in the videoer's house. It's in the newscaster's house. No longer are resistance chicks alone in having dogs interrupt. Here is the deal. I have felt so bad for years when our dogs or the dogs that we are pet sitting for interrupt our stream. This is proof positive that no matter who you are, even if you are a professional newscaster, if you are newscasting from your house and you have animals...
No, what it makes me feel like is that I am professional. We are the professionals. That if we had a studio and we had makeup artists and we had people, you know,
hang on, I think we do okay in that
picking out
department.
the clothes for us and doing our hair. Michelle does a really good job with her hair. I just try to make it so it's not like crazy. Okay, I just put a hat on most of the time, right? So here's the thing, like. These people, I have noticed, I have been loving watching these people do things from home. And their big thing is, we ain't got to wear no pants. Okay, it's so funny.
Hang on, though, because I have a blanket because it's cold down here. So, I actually have pants on. Wait, that's a shirt. You can't see. I got pants on. Yeah. But I brought this blanket because I was chilly.
I got no shoes on. It's fantastic. These people are going to be like, I'm not going back to work. This is fantastic, except for when the dog comes in. So we're going to watch that again.
That's right. That's stuck in my head, though. Your little song. I ain't got no pants. That was funny.
Well, what they're saying is that Walmart is selling more shirts than pants. Because people got to change the shirt, right? You wear the same pair of pants.
Rewind it back to where she goes and she's like,
last week of December
listen, there's the dog.
2019, they knew they had human transmission and community spread. The free Chinese in the Republic of Taiwan, the Republic of China and Taiwan, notified the World Health Organization on January.
We're going to watch her do that one more time because it's just the best I've ever seen.
Gosh.
We're going to watch her do that again.
Stop that.
On January 31st. One of my broadcast...
She says it twice! She says it twice!
The second time.
Stop it! Okay, one more time because this is the best. This is like even better than like what we're even covering.
World Health Organization on January 31st. One of my broadcasting partners...
The fact that they panned to her, though, like... Who was in charge of that? Because you wouldn't because usually you can see the camera shot before you go to it. Oh, my stomach hurts from laughing so hard. That was so fun. So St. Mark says, LOL, I thought those were dogs running in your house. Well, and see, I thought it was the person recording. It was because it's so unprofessional. But now we know it's totally professional to have dogs running in your house. Oh my goodness, that was really fun. I needed that.
Globe broadcasted on the 31st about human-to-human transmission. Most importantly, the great martyr of this process in China, Dr. Li, and his colleagues in Wuhan, the doctors, were on WeChat telling everybody, get ready, we have human-to-human transmission. They're coming into the hospitals now. The Chinese Communist Party.
We have a timeline because it was December 10th, one of the earliest...
Question is, was Steve watching her? Like on
I don't know. He kept his straight face the whole time.
Coronavirus patients
falling
ill in Wuhan, China. And you're right,
the
doctor on the coronavirus on December 30th. What happens then, Steve? He gets arrested. He's dead now, as you know, from coronavirus.
But
Let me go over this. Because I cannot.
But hang on.
I'm so
what was making the most noise was the collar. I would have just been like mouthing to my husband or whoever's in the room, like, take the collar off the dog. I mean, you can still hear the paws, but it was not as bad as the jingling of the collar. But you know what? As much as it probably drove her crazy and then everybody, but it actually, if it were to go viral, no pun intended, then it makes it seem real. People will watch them. People that would never watch Fox News are going to listen to this clip just to hear the dog, and they might learn something from Steve Bannon.
Okay, so one of the earliest known coronavirus patients falls ill in Wuhan, China, December 8th. Wuhan doctor raises alarm on coronavirus, is arrested. He dies on February 7th. December 31st, Taiwan reportedly warns about the WHO, I love how this, warns who? Who does he warn? WHO. They need to put like ... right? About possible human-to-human transmission. China first alerts who? Of mysterious pneumonia sickening dozens in Wuhan. January 11th, China reports first COVID-19 deaths.
Okay.
He's arrested. He's also tortured. His family is put under surveillance, and they force him to sign a document that says he's a rumor monger, that these are lies, that there's not human-to-human transmission. The Chinese Communist Party at the highest level. That is.
So when you're in a studio, you got lights that tell you when which camera's on and which camera's not, because it just turns on. So she doesn't know when they're going to pan at her and when they're not panning at her.
I know,
and I love it. I love it. Okay, we talking about China, but like, I love the behind the scenes, the people being just like us. They got technical difficulties.
I think our studio is more professional than their home studios. They just do a green screen, and we don't want to do a green screen. We could. I have the tech to do a green screen. Okay, I just like to have something physical. I'm not the weatherman that comes out and points at nothing. I want to. If I want to stare Steve Bannon's face, I'm pointing at it.
Trump warns China could face consequences over pandemic. U.S. President Donald Trump warned on Saturday that China could face consequences if it was knowingly responsible for the coronavirus pandemic. It could have been stopped in China before it started, and it wasn't. Trump told reporters at a White House briefing, and now the whole world is suffering because of it. Trump was asked whether China should suffer consequences over the pandemic, which began in the Chinese city of Wuhan in December and left more than 150,000 people dead. China lied, people died. China lied, people died. China lied, people died.
Right.
If they were knowingly responsible, certainly, he said, if it was a mistake is a mistake. But if they were knowingly responsible, then there should be consequences. Was it a mistake that got out of control, or was it done deliberately? That's a big difference between those two.
Yeah, it is.
In either event, they should have let us go in. They have not let any outside doctors in their lab.
From day one, though, they should have let people go in, and they refused.
We asked to go in early, and they didn't want to let us in. I think they knew it was something bad, and they were embarrassed. They said they're doing an investigation, so let's see what happens with the investigation. But we're doing investigations also. And
how do we investigate if they don't let us in, though? Like, how do you get to the bottom of something? I mean, it's just a matter of like hacking computers and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Kevin McCarthy, our speaker, not speaker of the House, but the minority speaker. China's lies, Democrats' gamemanship combined harmful to American health, economy, and coronavirus. House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy told Breitbart News, I really don't think it's going to put on your computer, but whatever. On Saturday, a brutal combination of
yoga. She looks weird doing yoga.
Oh, she's in like every Breitbart thing. I don't know why. Let me see. I'll go past the yoga tip.
There she goes.
Let me see. what we need to understand is we went into this economic crisis, and remember why we are here. We are here because the virus came from China, and China lied to the rest of the world.
Right.
Because of that, government asked small businesses to shut down, and we're talking about Nancy Pelosi. But I don't really need, you guys don't need to hear about our monetary issues. Director of Wuhan laboratory denies coronavirus link, calls allegations malicious and impossible.
Impossible. Mm-hmm.
Here's the yoga girl again. Increasing claims a maximum security laboratory in China's coronavirus ground zero city of Wuhan is the source of the deadly pandemic. Were rejected outright Saturday by the Institute's director.
It doesn't matter what, man.
Zhiming, vice director of Wuhan Institute of Virology, called the accusations a conspiracy theory. Goodbye, yoga girl. As people who carry out viral study, we clearly know what kind of research is going on in the Institute and how the Institute manages viruses and samples. As we said early on, there is no way the virus came from us. We have a strict regulatory regime and a code of conduct of research, so we are confident, blah, 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 and they lie, and they lie, and they lie, and they lie, and then they lie some more.
I want you to imagine if other news shows were as funny as we were. Their ratings would be, like, through the roof if people were just real.
Yeah, but nobody is funny as us.
Nobody is as funny as us in real life. They would have to put it on. This is all genuine.
Genuine.
Okay, going to Australia.
Australia, mate, as its voice to growing calls for China coronavirus inquiry. Go ahead, Michelle.
Australia on Sunday joined global calls for China to explain itself over a bungled handling of the deadly coronavirus pandemic, questioning its transparency and demanding an international investigation into the origins of the virus and how it flooded the globe. The deadly infection is known to have been first isolated in a market selling exotic wildlife in the central Chinese city of Wuhan late last year. It has since infected some 2.3 million people and killed nearly 160,000 of them, according to the Reuters calculations.
Go all the way down past there. We go.
Australia's foreign minister, how would you even...
Maurice Payne.
Thank you. Said her concern about China's transparency was at a very high point and reflected previous doubts in Canberra over the performance of the World Health Organization. The issues around the coronavirus are issues for independent review, and I think that it is most important that we do that, Payne told ABC television. In fact, Australia, can you just not, what's wrong with it? My accents are better than your Swedish. It's getting there, all right? I'm working it out. Australia will absolutely insist on that. She continued, it will need parties, it's going to need parties. Countries to come to the table with a willingness to be transparent and to engage in that process to ensure that we have a review mechanism in which the international community can have faith.
Okay, blah, blah, blah. I doubt that, like, China, you need to come clean. And China's like, no. Like, what?
This is what's going to happen. China, you need to come clean. Okay, we decide to come clean. Not really going to happen. It's really not going to be the way that it goes.
Yeah, it's totally not going to.
The hydraulics on my chair is failing.
Oh, you want mine?
No. I think this is yours. I think that's the problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm going to have to switch later.
This is German. Oh, here we go. So Germany's this is the part of the title that says countries call for investigations. So now we're going to Germany. That was Australia. Germany's largest paper to China's president. You're endangering the world. Xi Jinping.
We are the only ones allowed to be totalitarian.
Your government and your scientists had known a long time ago that coronavirus is highly infectious, but you left the world in the dark about it. The editor-in-chief of Germany's largest paper, Bild, on Thursday launched a full frontal attack on China's Communist President Xi Jinping, his regime's failure to come clean. That's one good thing about this. Everybody can pronounce his name now because we heard it 1,000 times.
And our friend Emily is watching with her boyfriend Bob. Hi, guys.
Hi.
She says, Bob is sitting here talking back to you while I'm playing it. And then she says, Australian. It's too British, too Southern, too hick.
That's funny.
That's really good. Okay, back to Germany.
His regime's failure to come clean about the coronavirus outbreak and the massive human rights violations carried out by the Communist Party Julian Reichelt, the prominent editor-in-chief of the Bild, wrote in Jinping that your embassy in Bahrain has addressed me in an open letter because we asked in our newspaper Bild whether China should pay for the massive economic damage the coronavirus is inflicting worldwide. He wrote that you, Jinping, your government and your scientists had to know long ago that coronavirus is highly infectious.
You're missing
but
your...
you left the world in the dark about it. Your top experts did not respond when Western researchers asked to know what was going on in Wuhan. If you do not know, viewers send us random things to use on air.
This is from Dale.
This is a helmet, a Prussian helmet.
Yeah.
Later used in Germany. And so we have the German helmet, and for our Swedish segments, we have...
No, but you can put that on right now because we're German.
I am giving an example.
Where's your German helmet?
I usually only use my German helmet for bad guys, like Angela Merkel.
Yeah, but it's still really fun to wear.
I actually do like
this is my
wearing
favorite hat.
My thing fell off.
Your pinnacle, or whatever it's called. What is this called?
See, no,
Do you want mine?
I don't have my thing. No, I need
It's disappointing.
my thing without the pointy thing. I don't know if it's the same.
Let's see. Try it on. Let's find out.
It's not the same.
It kind of just looks like a World War II helmet or something. Like you're in a...
You rule by surveillance. Don't take it off. You wouldn't be president without surveillance. You monitor everything, every citizen, but you refuse to monitor the disease wet markets in your country. You shut down every newspaper and website. I can do that one because they don't use the W. Website that is critical to your rule, but not the stalls where bat soup is sold. You are not only monitoring your people, you are endangering them and with them the rest of the world.
Wait, hang on, because our friend Christina, she's from Germany, and she's here, and she's like, Germany is awesome, you watch it. Well, I remember we met Christina at Leah's Bible School many, many moons ago, and she is the most beautiful woman I think I've ever talked to in my life. She's absolutely stunning, and she speaks fluent, perfect English with like an American accent. And Leah asked her, she's like, so what do you thinking? And she's like, German.
Yeah, but what it really messed with my head because she's black.
Yeah.
And she's German, and me, I'm 17, maybe 18 years old, and I did not know that there were black people in Germany. I didn't. I was ignorant. And now I am no longer ignorant. And there are lots of black Germans. Yes, I love Christina. She's the best. So, yeah. I could never get over how beautiful she was.
I know.
Yeah.
She says love you both.
All right. So I don't know how I do in my German accent in your head.
Not very good.
Probably not very good. Probably awful. Actually, the German article here is actually right and spot on.
Yes.
China does enrich itself with the inventions of others. That's a really key point. Instead of inventing on its own, the reason China does not innovate and invent is that you don't let the young people in your country think freely. Mm-hmm. China's greatest export hit that nobody wanted to have, but which has nevertheless gone around the world, is coronavirus. So, like, the only thing y'all made of your own free will beside nice China plates, right? Remember when China was like really like? Here's the thing: I don't want to rag too much on China because things made in China, I could take my helmet off, were fantastic, and they used to be precious, and you got a whole they used to have fine China and fine sets of China.
Do you remember watching Antiques Roadshow, and a lot of times people would bring Chinese goods in from, like, you know, their family had brought it back from the war or whatever, and it's so valuable.
Exactly. And so to cheapen your goods and to cheapen your people is kind of one of the worst things. This helmet
is probably made in China.
I guess, I'm guessing it probably is.
Made in China.
Everything's made in China. But anyways, the only thing that they have exported quite on their own is the coronavirus. The spokeswoman for China's embassy, Tao Lil, published an open letter to Bild in Germany on the embassy's website on Wednesday, stating that, I followed your reporting on the corona pandemic in general and China's alleged guilt in particular today, apart from the fact that we consider it a pretty bad style to blame a country for a pandemic that is affecting the whole world. No, it started... and then to present an explicit account of alleged Chinese debts to Germany, the article ignores some essential facts. She added, we note that many countries now struggle with COVID-19 have had time to prepare for the cross-border spread of the pathogen. And she's like, oh, see, you guys had time to get ready. That's China's response.
That's ridiculous.
The best-selling paper Bild calculated prior to Reichleck's editorial that China owed Germany 149 billion euros for coronavirus damages, triggering an angry response from the Chinese embassy in Berlin. Bild said the compensation amounts to about 1,700 euros per person if Germany's GDP drops by 4.2%. The Bild article was titled, What China Owes Us. China's embassy spokesman said the article stirs up xenophobia and nationalism. It's, okay, so let me just give you a taste of what China goes around, and there's a saying, what they accuse you of is what they are guilty of. In many ads, in art shows, I should have, and I will tell you guys this, McDonald's wasn't allowing, China and McDonald's in a couple places was not allowing black people in. They were saying that black people, the racism against black people in China is insane.
Whoa.
Okay.
How we talked about this?
Sorry. This is one of the most racist ads you will ever see. And by the way, this guy is in shape. Okay? And then she puts the black guy in the washing machine with the detergent. And out comes a skinny soy boy with a white shirt on. And she's in love.
I would have taken the black dude over that guy.
But that is every day for China. In China, to say they're so good, and you guys have to catch it. You have to be able to catch it because it literally
I have never seen anything so racist in modern days.
Oh,
like
really?
that's like broadly accepted.
That's just one.
Someplace.
That's just one.
That's
Africans in China allege racism as fear of new virus cases unleash. I'm not sure if this one will open up, might be behind a paywall, but China was locking black people in their homes and not even letting them out. Africans living in southern China, we'll unlock the
It's really
ads.
disturbing. I'm still disturbed.
Oh, there's more. Africans living in southern Chinese city of Guangzhou say that they have been evicted from their apartments, refused entry into restaurants as part of a xenophobic campaign against black people that is ostensibly aimed at curbing the transmission of the novel coronavirus. Other black residents in a part of the city known as Little Africa are being forced to remain inside their apartments even if they have not traveled anywhere that would warrant a quarantine and submit to coronavirus tests.
So Christina makes a really good point. She says this is a good article. Please read it. But she said all people of color, they hate themselves. Look at how they white powder up their faces.
That's crazy. The Chinese authorities' actions triggered protest from African governments, and they shouldn't because you're beautiful. The Chinese authorities' actions triggered protests from African governments and embarrassment for Beijing as it seeks to woo African states with promises of loans and investment. We covered this before the coronavirus, and it's highly disgusting the way China is going in and colonizing African nations right now.
Which is fascinating that we covered that. It was like literally days before coronavirus. I mean, it was like right before.
Yeah. People are not happy because they're being forced out of their apartments and into hotels where they have to pay $30 a night for 28 days, says the Maximus Ogbonna, the president of a Nigerian community group in Guangzhou. Ogbonna is in quarantine for a second time in his apartment with a camera installed over the door so police can monitor him. This is insane. He completed a 14-day quarantine in March after returning from Nigeria, but was told by local officials on April 8th that he had to do another 14 days in isolation, although he had tested negative for the virus and has not traveled anywhere. The focus on African residents comes amid broader restrictions on foreigners in China as officials having curtailed the coronavirus outbreak that began, and this is a Washington Post fake news. We stopped it. Now people are bringing it in.
Oh, whatever.
You stopped
oh my
it with
gosh.
what?
You didn't stop it. You just lied. You stopped testing. That's what you stopped.
Exactly. So
ain't nobody have it because we're not testing for it.
Yeah. But let's see, Chinese police in riot gear hurting African men along the street. And remember, in the McDonald's, a widely shared video showed McDonald's employee holding up a sign stating that from now on, black people are not allowed in the restaurant.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. Again, for those who still doubt that black people, and particularly Africans in China, it's been seen, this particular video has been seen a million times, are being targeted, we feel it's our duty to share this. A sign in the McDonald's restaurant seems to make it perfectly clear.
But it's written in English?
Yeah, because they speak English. A lot of the Africans who go there, they speak English. We've been informed that from now on, black people are not allowed to enter the restaurant for the sake of your health. Consciously notify the local police for medical isolation. Please understand the inconvenience caused. Yeah.
That's like literally terrifying.
Yeah. I could go on, but I don't need, this is a Chinese animation explains why black people are being, it's horrible. It's horrible what the Chinese people do over there. It's just, they're just horribly racist. There's an art show that had black people with different animals next to them. And it's just, yeah, I don't even want to show it. But it was Twitter was filled with like China. And so China does this thing that says, Trump, you closed down the borders of China. You're xenophobic. No, we're coronavirus-ophobic. We're afraid of your virus. And if it came from anywhere else, he would close the border. He closed the borders from Europe. Are we xenophobic against Italians and against, most of us are of European descent. Are we xenophobic against Europe? No.
I can't even.
If this is about the virus, then why aren't all foreigners being treated the same? The McDonald's China spokeswoman confirmed that black people were refused entry into this restaurant. McDonald's China apologizes unreservedly to the individual and to the customers. So it literally, and it has been ordered to stop such actions. There were a grocery store that was denying black people in. These incidents prompted the U.S. consulate in Guangzhou.
But is it literally just racism, or are they trying to tout something? I mean,
no, it's racism. Because Chinese. No, what I'm trying to say is they have a pattern of racism, so they're going to use this to go hard.
Yeah,
because they're so white, they're so soy boy. They see black people as below them. They really do. That's why they go into and they're colonizing. They're mentally insane. They see the Uyghurs as below them.
Right. Which, by the way, especially the black people that are coming from Africa and the Uyghurs, they are physically superior. Like literally, their genes are just, and I think that might be why they're trying to take them down, just because China has this own complex. I don't know.
Yeah, police have ordered bars and restaurants not to serve clients who appear to be of African origin. It wrote in an advisory to Americans in China. Local officials were implementing mandatory coronavirus tests followed by mandatory self-quarantine for anyone with African contacts, regardless of recent travel history or previous quarantine completion.
Why any of the world is still doing business with China? This is what I keep saying. I truly believe that God is using this scenario, this virus, to cut the umbilical cord. Okay, this disgusting, I don't know, symbiotic relationship that we have with China, where they just leech off of us. We do not need to be associated. No country should be doing business with China. Not a one. Okay, yeah. And then the Communist Party would fall and crumble, and then the people could rise up, and then we could start doing business with them again.
Yeah, and we covered this, and it's going to, because it's on my heart. This is another good article here. China's racism is wrecking its success in Africa. The expulsion of Africans from their homes in southern China is causing a diplomatic storm, and I'm actually glad about it. Mm-hmm. You should wreck your success in Africa. You should not be there. You should not be taking over Africa. And a lot of these places, they will give China, who makes fake dollars, right? Fake money, will go in. And because they're just horrible cheaters, they'll take their fake money and they'll go loan it to an African nation to build bridges or roads, and then they'll use only Chinese workers.
Right.
So they're not the African nation has to pay with the loan from China back into China.
The money isn't going to make Africa better. They are literally just raping Africa.
Right. Yeah, it's bad.
And it's going to stop. I truly believe it's going to stop because I think that China's going down.
Yeah.
in our lifetime. Absolutely.
China is unfit for global leadership. I am all about that.
Everybody is saying it now. You know, I mean, everyone. It is now. It's like not even a partisan issue.
So, continue our rag on China. The UK government spent £16 million on 2 million Chinese-made coronavirus tests that did not work. Can I send them back via Amazon Prime? Do I get my refund? The British government reportedly spent $16 million on 2 million coronavirus home test kits from 2 separate Chinese companies, none of which worked. The New York Times claimed on Friday that a laboratory at Oxford University found that the tests intended to be rolled out as home kits were insufficiently accurate at detecting antibodies. The American newspaper alleged that 500,000 from one company were now in storage, and another 1.5 million from the second Chinese firm have also gone unused. The tests were manufactured by All Test Biotech and Wanfo Biotech, both who claim that their products meet the EU standards. Of course they do. Just like your solar eclipse glasses that we were warned about. Don't look into the sun, you'll go blind.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, make sure you buy Made in America. All the kids gonna be going blind. China don't care. Following complaints from the British government that the tests were useless, both Chinese companies attempted to blame British officials for misunderstanding how the test worked, with Wanfo Biotech claiming that the test for only to be used supplementary for patients who already knew they had the virus. So it's a supplementary test. You know you have the virus. It's a supplementary test. We're gonna do
I know I'm pregnant, but I need to take another test just to make sure. What is that?
Exactly.
What is that?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it is unclear if these tests are the very same batch of millions of faulty Chinese-made tests that the British government admitted to having bought at the beginning of this month. This could be another round of bad tests from China. However, the New York Times report may point to the scale of taxpayers' money being spent on faulty medical equipment purchased from the very country where the pandemic originated. The Daily Mail said that Downing Street did not deny the claims, but put out by the New York Times, but a spokesman for Boris Johnson said he was not aware of the specific $16 million figure. The spokesman told the British newspaper, where tests are shown not to have any prospect of working, then we will seek to cover as much of the cost as we can. We are currently working with a number of companies to finding fast, reliable antibody tests. So there you have that. Farage says that Trump is right on WHO calls for boycott of Chinese products, which is a very difficult proposition. Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage has said that President Donald Trump was right to halt funding for the WHO over its handling of the Chinese coronavirus, saying the WHO had actively helped to spread this disease around the world, which they did. Absolutely. The WHO, the World Health Organization, said, don't worry. China says there's no human-to-human transmission. You're fine. And no, don't stop traveling. Don't stop anything that you're doing. Just keep spreading. You know, there's no problems here. No problems here at all.
Nothing to see here. Move on.
Yeah, Trump says, everyone knows what's going on here. American taxpayers provide money for the WHO, and they're really not helping anybody. They're supposed to stop these infectious diseases from spreading, and they did not at all, and like the biggest one in our lifetimes. It cannot convincingly claim to be politically neutral. You got the head, Tedros, with and it just goes to show you the globalist ties. And I didn't want to bring up the article, but you've got Lady Gaga out there singing the praises of the head of the WHO. He is an Ethiopian guy. I don't believe he's actually really a doctor even. So why would you be the head of the World Health Organization?
He looks like he has Satan coming out of his eyes.
But he is a member. He's a Marxist. He's a Marxist communist, and the China put him in to that position because he and it's evil in the blood. I don't know. There's something There's something happens to communists. Nigel Farage had particular criticism for Director General Tedros, previously a minister under Ethiopia's former Premier Meles Zenawi, whose regime had close links to China. In January, the Director General had visited China and met with Xi Jinping, after which the WHO praised the communist country for being remarkably transparent in sharing data released to the Chinese virus. The commendation came despite reports that the communist state was not forthcoming. So yeah, he says, listen, Nigel Farage criticized the British government for having decided to signal its virtue to the world, giving the WHO an additional £60 million this week. Oh my gosh, that's so stupid. They virtue signaled with £65 million when that money could have gone to help your own country get over coronavirus.
Well, Mikey B says on YouTube, some of the Chinese test kit batches were actually contaminated with the virus. It's a good way for China to continue to spread it.
Sure.
Stefan says, why are the UK buying tests when we are more than capable of making our own?
And that's just the thing. Every country needs to start making things within their own country. All right, so commercial break. I call commercial breaks when we kind of break from what we're talking about to something that's kind of not related but related. Who are they going to believe? UK cop threatens to make something up to arrest a man. The police officer in Lancashire, England, was recorded threatening a British citizen with arrest on made-up charges during a coronavirus confrontation that has gone viral on social media.
Dear.
There are some swear words, so watch your ears there. Lancashire police said that they are investigating an incident in which an officer told a member of the public that he would make something up in order to arrest the man. It is unclear what the reason was for the altercation in which the member of the public accuses the officer of harassing him. And so I'm going to play this.
So there's going to be curse words here. If you have children in the room or you just don't like them like I don't like them.
The kids are the curse words.
What, you've done nothing wrong, tell me, mate. What?
No, you've done nothing wrong, no.
Give me the definition of harassment. Give your details. You want me to go? Give me the keys. Sit in your car, shut up. If you want to fucking step to me and put thing in your chest out and stuff like that, then fine. I'll lock you up. We'll do that, shall we? I'll make something up. Public order. Go up to a police officer. Shall I do that? Who are they going to believe, me or you? Who are they going to believe, me or you? Just put more you want.
I will do, man. Don't worry about it.
So it's some sort of coronavirus, I guess, confrontation or something. And I bring this up because police in the UK have been widely criticized for their overzealous, heavy-handed approach to enforcing the nationwide coronavirus lockdown. One of my favorite was over in Scotland. You had a woman who went out to the store to buy wine and some potato chips and was given a $30, 40-pound, I don't know, fine because it wasn't deemed essential. They looked in her bag, and I guess if she had had some apples or maybe a bag of flour, it would have been fine, but potato chips and wine were not okay over there in Scotland. So a little bit of a craziness there. Last month, for example, Derbyshire police was widely panned for posting a video of drone footage of socially distant walkers in the Peak District, saying it's not essential. The Police Federation of England and Wales have demanded that the government grant officers with the power to enter private residences without a warrant if they suspect a forbidden party to be occurring. And there's another video, which I'm not going to play. It's a bunch of police officers break the guy's door down, but he's says a lot of curse words. There was no party going on, but it was reported that there was a party going on. It was just him and his house, and they broke the door, and then they just were like, okay, you didn't open the door. We have the right to break your door down. And then the door was just broken. They left. Okay, they didn't even apologize, I don't think.
So Britt Baza says, Michelle, that's normal here in the UK. Police are professional liars. This is because they are believed unconditionally by the UK courts.
It's insane. It's insane. Okay, so there's our Pope Francis says a church without sacraments is not the church, and I would disagree, but I'm gonna give this some time here to talk about. Pope Francis has urged Catholics not to get used to video streaming the sacraments, saying it can lead to a disembodied Gnostic spirituality. Now, let me tell you something. You've got to go back to where Jesus said, as often as you do this in remembrance of me. And that was at the Lord's Supper. And he says, as often as you come together, and he handed out real bread, not these little dudes, not the little flat crackers, whatever, the wafers, okay? And he handed out wine, and they all drank from the wine, right? As often as you do this. But if you can't do it, you're not going to be less separated from God, okay? That is why When you bow your heads and you thank God for your food, or when you come together, you think of the Lord's body. You think
when
of the Lord's
I read
sacrifice.
when Jesus says that, as often as ye do this, to me, it's eating together. Do it in remembrance of me.
Or the Passover.
Exactly, or the Passover. But I think we're supposed to have communion more than that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that they take this and they take it way too far. And what I have found, Pope Dude, all right, is that people are closer to God outside of your buildings, all these church buildings.
Right now,
people are literally having real relationships with Jesus Christ without the crutch that walking into a building provides. That righteousness that you feel like you got because I put my butt in the seat on Sunday, maybe Wednesday. You know, and now I feel pretty good and I can do whatever I want the rest of. You don't have that. You're kind of like, man, I'm feeling empty. I need to
really
get in the word myself.
To not forsake the assembling together of believers. And I do think that even within the Catholic community, because we have a lot of Catholic viewers, you're going to see a revival. You're going to see those Catholic churches, like, they need a wake-up call. They've needed a wake-up call. You need to have more than just the threat behind it. You need to have a real revival, threat of like maybe you're not going to be right with God. You need to have a real revival to get people into the church. He says, Christians' familiarity with the Lord is always communal. Yes, it is intimate. It is personal, but in community. He declared in his Friday morning mass live streamed to the faithful, a familiarity without community, a familiarity without the bread, a familiarity without the church, without the people, without the sacraments is dangerous. It can become a Gnostic familiarity, a familiarity for me alone, detached from the people of God. The apostles' familiarity with the Lord was always communal, always at the table, a sign of community. It was always about the sacrament with bread. No, it wasn't always about the sacrament with bread. Jesus met and he walked around with the disciples all the time. To say that our Lord gave the sacrament on the very last meal with them. So to say it was always about the sacrament, it's not always about the sacrament. It is part of it. But being in the community is, and it always is, part of being in the body of Christ. So he has, and I'm not Catholic, so I can say, Pope, you're wrong. But you have some things right. You do need to make sure that you don't leave the church. You do need to make sure that you don't leave the body of Christ. You do need to make sure that it takes extra work to get into the Word of God. So you're going to create these amazing relationships with God. The pontiff said that the pandemic is not only dangerous for people's physical health, but for their spiritual health as well, since it leads to isolation, separation, and the absence of the communal and physical nature of true worship. I say this because someone has made me reflect on the danger of this moment that we are experiencing, this pandemic that has made us all communicate, even religiously, through the media. Even this mass, we are all communicating, but not together, spiritually together. The congregation is small. There is a bigger congregation with whom we are together, but not together. Even the sacrament of the Eucharist, today you have it, but the people who are connected with us only have a spiritual communion. This is not the church. This is the church in a difficult situation, which the Lord allows, but the ideal of the church is always that people be with the sacraments all the time. Francis said that he has come to this realization thanks to a good scolding from a good bishop, who reproached him for not having more faithful at Mass in St. Peter's Basilica on Easter Sunday. Before Easter, when the news came out that I would celebrate Easter in an empty St. Peter's, a good bishop, wrote to me and scolded me. But how can this be? I love that bishops can scold the Pope. St. Peter's is so big, why don't you have 30 people at least, so people can see that there is a congregation there? I thought to myself, but what is that bishop thinking to tell me this? I didn't understand at the time. He goes on to say, so listen, guys.
Oh my goodness.
I know the Pope is concerned that people might leave the church, but they're not, because just look at the fruit. People are coming, people are talking about Christ, in bigger numbers than ever before.
Hang on a second, though, because he's not wrong. What's happening is with the online services, people are starting to watch. And, like, a lot of people would never enter into a Catholic church, and a lot of Catholics would never enter into a Protestant church. But if you're in the comfy of your comfies at home, and you want to go to church, and you want to listen to somebody else's church, and then you might find that you like what they say, it is probable that some Catholics might end up leaving the Catholic faith to try another denomination that melds better with their spirit And I think that is a real concern, so they're trying to rein it in a little bit.
Well, and honestly, though, that is the same thing, and we're here to bash. We are equal religious stoics bashers around here. So you have a lot of these Protestant churches who are wanting to open up, a lot of the Trump-supporting Protestant churches who are defying the orders, who want the butts in the seats, and for them it's all about the money. You've got to have the people in the congregation to manipulate the money out of them. You've got to be able to say, if you want blessings today, give into the plate today. Mm-hmm. It's so much easier if you're right there to pull it out of your wallet than it is to like send it in the mail to them.
Right.
Okay? And so
what they need is a super chat. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody keeps trying to get us to get super chat on YouTube.
That would be the best way to do
money,
that. They
right?
should just do the super
So
chat.
I'm like, dude, why don't these churches that are obsessed with money
just do the super chat?
do a super chat? They'll stream your thing on YouTube, open up the super chat, and
that's
going to
be easier.
Drop
than
down
like,
$5, $10, $15, $20, $100.
That's going to be easier than opening up your wallet and writing a check or getting cash out.
Yeah, and it's impulse.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't get it back.
You can't get it back. All right. So back to the China thing here on Facebook. Sally had a really good question here. She says, can you explain why we are shipping chickens to China to be processed and then sent back?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
It is. Well, but I think we can explain it. It doesn't make sense, and it shouldn't be cheaper. But it is, because here in the United States, to process chickens and to sell them to people, and it shouldn't be this way, you have to have a USDA official in the plant, and depending on the size of the plant, you have to have multiples in the plant, from what I understand. And China has like zero inspectors, anything.
They do actually have to have USDA people, and that's another one of the things.
But they
don't. They do. China does have USDA. USDA has to be there, and that's the point for like the medicines being made. And a lot of them aren't being made because the USDA people aren't there.
All right, so I was misinformed. But I was under the impression that they didn't have.
But they have very lax. They have very, very lax standards there for sure. And
so maybe I know that their standards are lower in China than they are here in the United States for the same products that they are sending us back.
Yeah, and then they're paid less,
and they are paid far less. So it doesn't make sense for a chicken to be shipped all the way to China and back, and it's still cheaper. And that just goes to show the corruption of the system. You should buy local. You should be getting your, like, you could be like us and you could raise your chickens in your backyard.
Yeah.
And bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
But yes, Sally, it's very, very wrong.
Coptic Pope celebrates Orthodox Easter in desert monastery. And I kind of just thought this was beautiful. Pope Tewodros...
And they're poisoning us, Christine.
The second, a spiritual leader of Egypt's Coptic Orthodox Christians, has held Easter services in an empty monastery in the desert amid coronavirus restrictions, which kept the faithful from gathering at churches and monasteries across the country. The services were held at a monastery of St. Pishoy in a desert valley west of Cairo known as the Wadi Netrum. Few clergies attended the service, which aired on Coptic Orthodox television station. The clerics were seen practicing social distancing during the prayers. And I just thought the idea of that is just beautiful. I just love this picture here, where you had the Coptic Christians in Egypt still celebrating their Easter. And then I wanted to, this was kind of interesting. I think I had this up. So Christians celebrate a muted holy fire ceremony amid pandemic. So a small group of Christian clerics celebrated the holy fire ceremony at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem on Saturday as the coronavirus pandemic prevented worshipers from taking part in the ancient and mysterious ritual. They entered the edicule, a chamber built on the site where Christians believed Jesus was buried and rose from the dead after being crucified. They emerged with candles lit by a mysterious fire that the faithful view as a divine message. The source of the fire is a closely guarded secret. Here is a picture of a priest that walks outside the Church of the Nativity on April 18th, 2020. The church is closed due to the lockdown. The clergymen from different Orthodox denominations then circled around inside the empty church, chanting prayers that echoed off the walls. Here we have a picture of an Orthodox Christian priest praying at the entrance of the Church of Nativity yesterday. Yeah, I believe. In previous years, the church would be packed with pilgrims, each holding candles and passing the light around. So this just makes it way creepier with the masks. Just like the mask. until it illuminated the century-old walls. The ceremony, along with other events in the Holy Week leading up to Easter, was scaled back in line with the ban on public gatherings. Israel has reported more than 13,000 infections and 150 deaths. The virus causes mild. So here we have a picture of the holy fire. A man wearing a protective mask holds up candles lit, and they have to wear gloves because it just kind of lit from the holy fire in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Israel says it made special arrangements with church leaders to allow the holy flame to be carried abroad to other Orthodox communities with these giant, massive candles. Because one entering Israel must go into quarantine. Foreign dignitaries coming to pick up the flame will receive it on their planes and immediately return home. You gotta get that fire. Is that like?
Here's the thing. I'm trying to find something from one of my friends on Facebook had shared it. That today...
The ritual dates back at least 1,200 years.
Yeah, but today is also a day of special fire for Satanists.
Ooh.
And so when you had originally sent me your... the Christians celebrate the holy fire thing, I was like, what? Christians are celebrating like Satanist stuff now? So,
no. It's been 1,200 years.
I don't think that they are... separate, though. For some reason, I think that somehow, whether one's playing off of the other... You know, not the same thing, but like one trying to combat the other. I don't know. I wish I could find out this.
You touched it and I was trying to bring it down.
Okay, but bring it down from up there.
Okay.
Sisters.
We don't want to watch the whole thing, but I want to give you an idea of, I guess. It's a pretty big deal. And I haven't tried to do some. No, it's not loud enough.
So here, St. Mark the Evangelist, he's Catholic, says today is the octave day of Easter for us Catholics. It is still Easter Day for us. Very interesting. He also says the word mass comes from the Latin word missa, which means to go forth. Britt Botza asks, Michelle, are you all at God's little acre of Protestant belief or Catholic belief? Just interested. That is all. We are definitely Protestant.
I don't even call myself,
but I don't like the word Protestant. It just means we're not Catholic.
I am
we're
not
just Christians.
protesting anything.
Exactly. We're just Christians.
Here's the thing. Our family is Catholic. My grandma grew up Catholic. She's from...
We did not grow up Catholic.
My mom did.
Right, but
my mom grew up Catholic. We actually went... We didn't have a First Communion, but we went to Catholic church growing up.
On and off.
We went to Catholic church. So I have great respect for Catholics. So, for sure. All right, so there's the Holy Fire ceremony there. I'm going to look that up a little bit more. All right, so we have some good news. We have some bad news. Many Italian businesses to reopen thanks to the bureaucratic loophole here. The Italian government is allowing tens of thousands of Italian firms to resume their operations due to the state's inability to process the avalanche of requests that has inundated it. Last week, the government extended the closure of non-essential businesses until May 3rd, but it has also allowed firms that believe they form part of a vital supply chain to essential businesses to apply for permission to reopen. After the government was flooded with more than 105,000 such requests, mostly from small and medium-sized enterprises, the Interior Minister told businesses that given the impossibility to process so many requests in a timely fashion, all those who have filed for permission may reopen while they await an eventual response, effectively giving many firms carte blanche to circumvent the coronavirus lockdown. On its website, the Prime Minister's office has produced an exhaustive list of the type of businesses currently deemed essential, including everything from dry cleaners to computer servicing, from hardware stores to photography shops, and from food markets to motor manufacturers. In theory, any other business that forms part of the supply chain to keep essential services running has a right to be open as well, which explains the immense rush of applications. At the moment, just over 2,000 firms had applied to reopen, have been refused permission, while another 38,000 were presently being reviewed. All the rest, more than 50,000, form the queue of those whose applications are still waiting. In Italy, some 4 million businesses employ fewer than 10 persons. These are small businesses, which makes it so beautiful
Yeah.
and wonderful. And the backbone of Italian economy, a portion of these will be able to take advantage of the typically Italian solution for surmounting obstacles, its proverbial government inefficiency. One of the major industries that will continue to languish, however, is tourism. Restaurants, coffee bars, museums, and parks do remain closed, and many hotels have closed down due to operations due to an absence of clientele. Italy's massive fashion industry is suffering as well, which they've been calling for a resume in businesses. The fashion industry has. If our factories do not open by April 20th, we will not be able to deliver our autumn and winter collections, which must be sent by July to our clients all around the world. Don't you see? We're an essential business.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see here. Guys, Queen has canceled her birthday party. Britain reports 888 daily coronavirus deaths, and the Queen cancels her 94th birthday celebration.
When is her birthday?
Well, let's find out. British authorities reported 888 more coronavirus-related deaths on Saturday, bringing the total to 15,464. The latest daily figure from the health department is 41 times higher than the previous days of 41 higher, not times. I'm sorry. 41 people died. More people died. Britain posted a record high a week ago of 980. The Queen Elizabeth II doesn't want a gun salute for her birthday because she doesn't think it's appropriate during the coronavirus pandemic. The British monarch, who turns 94 on Tuesday, decided not to publicly mark the occasion in any special way, including the artillery salute she traditionally gets on her birthday. Her Majesty was keen that no special measures were to be put in place to allow gun salutes, as she did not feel it appropriate in the current circumstances. She's always about decorum, and I appreciate that. The Queen has previously stressed the importance of lockdown measures, saying in her Easter message that keeping apart, we would keep each other safe. So I'm sorry, Queen. No birthday for you.
Well, she joins the ranks of so many other people celebrating
their birthdays
during
and
quarantine.
And if you are too, happy birthday from us to you. Spain surpasses 20,000 coronavirus
Wait
deaths.
Ripaz says, Michelle, the Queen's official birthday is in June. People just got a birthday. There's no official birthday and then unofficial birthday.
Does she turn 94 on Tuesday? That's the question. Because
you don't get two birthdays unless you're a Christian.
Yeah.
Okay. Even then, it's a different kind of birthday.
Spain surpasses 20,000 coronavirus deaths, 190,000 infections.
Mikey B says she got two birthdays. No, she doesn't get two birthdays.
Well, what's the one? Does she turn 94 on Tuesday? Does she turn 94 on Tuesday?
Okay, hang on. So Milo says it's Julian calendar. We Orthodox go by it because it was first. The rest of the Christians go by the Gregorian calendar. That was later introduced by Rome. I don't think that has anything to do with the Queen's birthday. The Queen has two birthdays. One is a coronation birthed. Okay, that's different. That's not your birthday though. That's not you weren't.
So she turns 94 on Tuesday. Okay.
Is she birthed as queen?
So Coronation Day would make sense.
Why don't you just call it Coronation Day?
Make it simple for the rest of us.
She doesn't get two birthdays.
Can we go to Spain?
I'm in the United States and I'm telling her she can't have two birthdays.
Spain got people dying. Spain's health authorities reported 565 deaths in the last 24 hours. Only the United States and Italy have more deaths. New infections rose by nearly 4,500. More than 74,000 people in Spain. Would you Google and see how many people are in Spain? What's the population of Spain? This week, health authorities said there were discrepancies in the statistics of virus deaths and infections reported by regional administrations. The central government has ordered regions to give more precise data and use the same parameters. That's been a problem here. Okay, did
46.9 million.
So with 46.9
just say 47
million people versus, so to just put that in perspective, we have 337 million people. Spain has 46 million people, and they're and our country has more deaths than them, and Italy has more deaths than them, but they're number 3, but they only have 46 million people, so it's really hitting them hard. But the outbreak is slowing, and as the outbreak slows, pressure on hospitals has relaxed. Authorities have closed one part of a huge field hospital with thousands of beds that were set up by the military in a convention center in Madrid, but strict confinement rules are expected to be extended until April 26 in Spain. And we did that. Fearful but impatient, Italy edges toward the end of lockdown, and we talked about this just a little bit, but Italians debated Sunday their first cautious steps out of a coronavirus lockdown. The Mediterranean country has been filled with rumors and speculation about when the people will finally be able to walk on the streets. Their lockdown is not like ours. Freedom for them would be what we have right now.
Yeah.
Because you have Italian mayors, and we played the clips. You'll get home. You get home. I will find you. I will hit you. I will take you myself to jail. Get off the street. They're not allowed on the streets. Like, the streets are empty. Like, they're not allowed to even leave their house. Like, they're so stupid because the sun, like, kills the virus and people need exercise. Like, they're, like, locked down. In your house, locked down. There was a video I played for Mom with people, because they live, and this is why it spread so much, densely populated areas, a lot in high-rise apartments, and there were there were people with these like 10-foot long booms, and they had champagne in them, and they were dinging the glasses.
No,
But
because you're about to put it in your mouth.
Italians can't help themselves.
Listen, Italians. You do not need to swap spit with everybody. You don't need to kiss people. You don't need to hug people. You need to be all over their faces. You don't need to clink glasses and stuff like that. Can you not stay in your own personal bubble?
You don't need to stay 6 feet apart if you just stop swapping spit with people.
Oh my goodness.
The balmy weather is not helping government efforts to keep everyone inside in the face of the disease that has officially killed, unfortunately, 23,227 in Italy, second only to the United States. The number of daily fines for illegal outdoor activities is rising, and the police are setting up barricades along roads leading to the beaches on the western outskirts of Rome. The growing sense that weeks of confinement were ending forced an unnamed source in Prime Minister Conte's office to tell media that nothing will change. But some officials seem to think that extending the strictest lockdown measures beyond May 3rd deadline will not work. There are all kinds of protests all over the world. The daily death rate has fallen to half of what it was peaked at. We must give citizens greater freedom of movement. Conte gave little of the game away in one of his characteristic late-night Facebook posts on Saturday. He said some activities will be allowed to resume according to a well-structured program that balances the need to protect people's health with the need to resume production. So you've got... the heads of Milan's, Lombardy, and Venice's Veneto regions have both warned that they might soon have to begin reopening businesses on their own. We either close everything and die waiting for the virus to go away, or we open and we live, said the Veneto governor. The La Repubblica Daily estimated Sunday that 11.5 million Italians, exactly half of the official workforce, have stopped receiving incomes and started applying for aid. Of course they have. Yeah. Of course they add. You gotta at some point. And honestly, I think everybody in Italy probably has it by now. And
they probably all test positive for antibodies.
I bet they probably do. The
question will remain whether you can get reinfected, because we do know that it is mutating, and we don't know yet whether people who have had it will be able to get it again. It's too soon to know that.
So I gotta feel sorry for the French drug dealers. Violence looms as France's drug dealers struggle due to coronavirus.
Wouldn't all drug dealers be struggling right now?
Due to the lockdown measures put in place to combat the Wuhan virus, illegal drug shortages have increased.
Drug shortages.
Both prices and tensions among French dealers. Local drug traffickers across France have adapted, and some have begun selling through mobile apps like Snapchat and WhatsApp, as well as organizing deliveries in local supermarkets and their car parks. In many areas, such as the no-go and Paris suburbs, street-level drug dealing has all but vanished. However, districts in cities like Lyon have seen a resurgence in drug trafficking. So do not feel sorry for them. That's
the drug dealers can only stay inside for so long too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting that you didn't, with all of this, and drug deals have gone down, that you're not hearing about people
like going through detox and panicking.
Yeah, it's very fascinating.
It is. So the EU has cracks. We cover this every week. There were some tensions between Guy Verhofstadt and this chick here. The EU Commission boss issues another coronavirus apology as the bloc is cracking right as we speak. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has issued another apology to Italy over the European Union's lack of actually caring. Solidarity during the Chinese coronavirus outbreak.
Don't care.
Mrs. von der Leyen stated in the European Parliament this week that she wanted to extend her heartfelt apology because apologies are free. No money, no help. Apologies are free. Too many were not there on time. at all. They're still not there. When Italy needed a helping hand at the very beginning. The apology comes just weeks after she had another apology published in the Italian newspaper La Repubblica because, hey, it's EU funds. We'll just issue an apology. We'll make it go away.
Right.
I apologize. We are with you. Talk is cheap, baby. The EU later then claimed that Europe has now become the world's beating heart of solidarity, noting that EU countries have offered each other hospital beds and medical supplies. Von der Leyen also pushed the idea of a coronavirus Marshall Plan to deal with the economic fallout of the Chinese virus, saying we need massive investments to restart the economy. One of the measures proposed to help Italy has been the use of European Stability Mechanism, the ESM, to a bailout fund that gives loans to member states. The ESM has seen massive resistance within Italy from Senator Salvini, however, who has criticized the measure as eroding the sovereignty of Italy and having an adverse effects if it results in the country being forced to restructure debt. Members of the Five Star Movement who form the current government coalition with the leftist Democrats have gone as far as saying they will vote to bring down the Prime Minister Conte. This week, Senator Salvini argued that the Italian parliament should vote on whether or not to approve the use of the ESM before Prime Minister Conte meets with the EU leaders. The Italian public's view and confidence in the European Union has sharply declined since the start of the coronavirus outbreak. You have signs up, we're on our own, this is us, Italy.
It's so great.
Or bust.
I love it.
I made that up. Mrs. von der Leyen has also come under...
You can't tell people that if it's not true.
I said Italy or bust. I made that up.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
But people have signs up?
Oh, yeah.
See, that's
good.
Yeah.
Belgian MEP and noted Europhile Guy Verhofstadt slammed President von der Leyen in the European Parliament on Thursday, saying, "It's been weeks, and we have been discussing this European Marshall Plan. My question is, what is the European Commission waiting for? Is she waiting for the European Commission? Well, she may wait 8 years then," he added on. "My message to the European Commission is this has to stop. You have the right initiative. Take your responsibility and come forward." I really hate that guy. So anyways, I don't really want to give him a chance to speak on our show if I can help it. All right. So I have a couple more things I want to talk about. Nigel has his own show. And this segment actually goes along perfectly.
Do you want to play it on mine?
Well, I'm just going to play a couple things of it because it's a short little segment. It's talking about how Brexit is really important right now because you're not actually experiencing Brexit just yet. So I'm going to play the beginning, and then he's going to bring on people. This is the first of, he likes to do this.
I bet he got it from Steve Bannon.
Maybe.
I think he got it. Except for this is going to be a little bit more lighthearted.
It's #@home. I think it's beautiful.
Show them the little, set to the side. They're not going to be able to see the little emblem there.
But what they were discussing, and I'm just going to kind of tell you, was this bailout and Italy, and will other European countries want to be on the books, on the hook for bailing out these other countries? And Germany, does Germany want to just randomly, did Germans see what UK has is the ability to kind of print its own money.
Right.
The United States has the ability to print their own money, but if you're part of the European Union, you don't have the ability to print your own money. And so you're on the hook. All European countries are on the hook if you start to, make up money for the euro for other countries. And does Germany really want to do that? So I'm going to play the beginning here. And
it's mid-lockdown, and I wonder whether you're getting tired of being stuck at home as millions of others. Now, if I was to say Brexit, you might say to me, but that's all done. It's all over. Boris Johnson won a thumping great big majority, and at 11 o'clock on the 31st of January, there were 100,000 people there in Parliament Square. Big celebration, and we're out, we're free. Isn't it wonderful? Well, sort of. What happened on the 31st of January was a very major historic moment. But the devil is in the detail, and we are still part of the single market, part of the customs union. We don't have to negotiate what our trade deal is or is not. And here's the key to this. And I know, coronavirus crisis seems way, way more important because we're concerned about our friends, our families, our loved ones, ourselves even. Economically, there is a huge kind of angst out there in the country, and maybe the prospect of 1 million small businesses backing up within the next few weeks. So I know in some ways Brexit is not at the top of your minds, Let me just tell you, over the course of the next few minutes, why it needs to be. Now, I am still leader of the Brexit Party. Yes, that's right. It still exists. And I'll tell you why it exists. Because in the past, we have had Conservative governments making a whole series of promises to us and then letting us down like a cheap pair of braces. I mean, how many times did Mrs May say, Brexit means Brexit? And there is now enormous pressure coming upon the UK government for us not to be cleanly out of all of the institutions by the end of this year. Indeed, overnight, we have the boss of the IMF in Washington saying that there needs to be an extension. This would be further disruption at this time. I mean, what the hell it's got to do with them, I've no idea. But then again, effectively become a branch office of the European Commission over the course of the last few years. So I want to talk today about why Brexit matters economically, and perhaps in some ways matters more right now than it's meant at any point. And I'm very pleased to be joined today by two of my former colleagues from the European Parliament, both Brexit Party MEPs, both businessmen. Yes, you heard it, people that have actually done a job before coming into politics. I know that doesn't really exist much in the Labour and Conservative parties, but it certainly does with us. And I want to talk, to begin with, what's the big picture in the Eurozone in particular, and then find out what could our liabilities be if we're not cleanly out of it and it all starts to go horribly wrong, which it may well. So I'm going to begin.
So what would be Britain's liabilities there for the rest of Europe? Because you're not cleanly out.
Exactly.
You're not broken. You're not actually divorced.
Right.
So if your spouse, has to go to the hospital, you're on the hook for those hospital bills. So I'm going to play the ending here.
Servants, at date, we have to give notice by the 1st of July if we're going to go into 2021. Remember, Mrs May told us Brexit means Brexit. We're leaving on March the 29th. She told us 108 times we were leaving on March the 29th, 2019, and we didn't. So look, what we're going to do, I'm going to get a series of guests on, the same calibre I've had today, to talk about why getting a clean break from this European Union matters so much. Do you know what? They can have our 7 billion sitting on the table at the EIB as long as we get out of any future liabilities. So I'm going to keep this series going. I know we're in a big crisis. To quote Boris, and thank goodness he's better, we're in a national emergency. But actually, being free to make our own trade deals, to choose our own path in the world, after this crisis will probably be more important than it's ever been at any point in modern history. If you want to follow these developments, you want to be kept up to speed, and please share these videos, share this information with your friends.
We did.
Log on to the Brexit Party website, give us your email, and we'll make sure you find out every time we've got information to impart. Meanwhile, make the best of lockdown.
I love that guy. I just love him so much. Okay, so you can bring up my other little videos. Just kind of give you an idea of what's going on. Unfortunately, some parents are separated from their babies in the hospital. And then, you can go play that one. Kind of sad. This is the worst part. Being the hospital separations. I think that families should just be able to make that call and, maybe let one member of each family member into the hospital because you need only allow one parent to visit at a time.
Dexter was born 12 weeks ago. He needed surgery, but the operation was delayed by 2 weeks.
Had to be intubated in surgery for some breathing support. Unfortunately, they were restricted on PPE use. So he was urgent, but not an emergency. So they didn't feel that the PPE would be to use for him to be intubated. So for him to have that surgery was a big deal. Because now we're on the road to him being able to come home.
Dexter has had suspected COVID-19 3 times.
They closed the lid on the incubator. And when that's closed, we don't cuddle him because we don't want to get him out to expose other babies, staff, ourselves to it. when he's crying and we can't get them out, that's sad.
They closed the lid because you've got a cough.
They have seen 50% rise in the use of their services.
We spoke to Dad just last week, who last had a cuddle with his baby on the 27th of March, and his baby's not expected to come home till June. Parents, already in an extremely stressful situation, are going to be even more impacted by the limitations on how they're able to be involved in their baby's care.
Because often people are asymptomatic, the measures are in place to prevent infections being passed on to babies. That's the reason for the measures that are in place.
For now, families like Dexter will continue to be separated until he can go home.
It's just a harsh part of this. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but I just kind of wanted to play my other videos. I want to throw that out there and just kind of give you an idea of what's happening.
This one?
Yeah, that's fine. Then we have Captain Tom Moore is getting a special honor. Go ahead.
Large and
yeah,
we've all been humbled by the gestures, large and small, by people across the country to show support to those working so hard to protect the NHS and to save lives. None more so than Captain Tom Moore, who has raised an astonishing £23 million this week for NHS charities. I can't think of a more worthy person to be the guest of honour at the opening of the new Nightingale Hospital in Harrogate next week. Also, fittingly, the county of his birth, Yorkshire. I'm sure that everyone will want to join me in thanking Captain Tom for his truly heroic efforts.
So what he did was he's a 99-year-old British war veteran, completed 100 laps in his garden to raise $15 million for the UK's National Health Service.
Stop it. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. That's awesome. Look at them standing at attention.
The Yorkshire Regiment. Inches to go. There he is. Congratulations.
All the people are finding it very difficult at the moment, and some people are finding it difficult. I think if you're hand up in your own house for all this time and likely to go on a little bit longer, I think you're all being very, very good, and I think you're also being brave and having to be hemmed up in such a small space of time for so long. Good for you.
Oh my gosh.
So he became a national hero.
So Jim West in the chat says, I put in some cash for Tom. NHS is overfunded, but at times like these, I don't mind supporting it and him.
Yeah, I get you.
Bripaza says, Leah, initially he was trying to raise £1,000.
Wow. That's crazy. Good for him. Good for him. All right. So let me just kind of go over, we're going to hit one conspiracy theory here, and then I'm going to go over some headlines here. 1 year later, the cause of the Notre Dame fire is still a mystery. 1 year after a fire nearly destroyed the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, the cause of the blaze remains a mystery. And remember, Michelle Obama happened to just be riding
on a boat
across and watched it go down. Like, what? On April 15th, in 2019, the 850-year-old Gothic building was engulfed in flames, sending its iconic spire crumbling to the ground.
There's literally pictures of her drinking wine with the reflection of the burning Notre Dame in the background.
Despite police initially asserting that an electrical short circuit was probable as the cause of the fire, Europe Echavager said that the electricity supply to the two lifts on the site was perfectly within specifications and well maintained. 12 months on, and there's no official conclusion to how this fire started. Le Journal des Arts reports that the coronavirus lockdown and the fact that remains of the original scaffolding that the fire brought down is still on site have delayed the investigation. No, it can't be the coronavirus lockdown has delayed the investigation. It happened a year ago. Experts still haven't been able to gain access to the area where the blaze is believed to have begun, and that will not be accessible until the scaffolding comes down. Following the blaze, the French government ordered state-employed architects not to give interviews to the media about the Notre Dame fire. Days after the fire, BuzzFeed ran a fake news hoax denying that Muslims had celebrated the fire despite evidence of it being manifestly provable. There were lots of people who actually celebrated this coming down, unfortunately.
So BuzzFeed just got caught sharing hoax misinformation about the Notre Dame fire, and then blamed me for sharing hoax misinformation about the Notre Dame fire while the blaze was still raging. I posted this tweet in which I stated a brief summary of who is responding to the tragic Notre Dame fire with smiley faces on Facebook. The video attached to this tweet was a live Facebook feed of the Notre Dame fire. In this video, you can see a list of who was reacting in real time to the fire with smiley emoticons. Take a good long look. The video clearly shows the Notre Dame Cathedral burning in the background. And here's the original Facebook video from where my tweet was grabbed. It's a page called Brute. It has over 7 million views. And there you see, Brute was live at Notre Dame, Paris. You can check all this for yourself.
You can't see it
Again,
very well.
you see
That's
the
right.
Notre Dame burning in the video. It's the same video that I tweeted. And this screenshot from the original live at Notre Dame video shows people reacting with smiley faces as Notre Dame burns. Now, how do you think BuzzFeed reported on this? In a
You don't need to know because it's so frustrating. But I'm throwing that out there. There were a lot of conspiracies that went around the Notre Dame fire. There were mysterious people that were walking around.
Famous people and non-famous people.
No, I meant there were mysterious people walking around the building.
Oh, okay. I thought you were still talking about Michelle Obama. I'm so obsessed with that.
So, anyway. All right, so here is the overview of what's going on with coronavirus, and then we're going to sign off here. So, new cases in Russia, Singapore soar, New York reports another promising pullback in deaths, live updates. You guys want live updates? Go to Zero Hedge. They always have them. Look for the title in this says live updates. Andrew Cuomo kicked off his slightly delayed Sunday morning press briefing by announcing that the state recorded only 507 COVID-19 deaths in the past 24 hours. It's the lowest single-day reading. Elsewhere, while new cases in Singapore soared, France saw its latest daily death toll shrink to its slowest level in 3 weeks. That's optimistic there for Europe. As Cuomo continued on, he insisted that after more than a week of mostly encouraging numbers, we believe New York is past the peak and we are now descending the other side of the mountain. So the U.S. is finally joining Europe at the top of the downward slope for round one at least. Regardless, even the best case scenario for the U.S. calls for another 6 weeks of la quarantina. Italy, Spain, and France are realistically not that much further ahead, despite governments in both countries taking the first tentative steps towards reopening. One day after Spanish Prime Minister Sanchez announced plans to extend what is about to become a strict 6-week-long country lockdown until May 9th, health authorities declared another drop in the rate of new COVID-19 cases and deaths, while also reporting an encouraging drop in patients in severe conditions, suggesting the country's dramatic efforts have worked. But remember, you have doctors all around the world using treatments now that weren't available even just a few weeks ago.
Right.
Of particular concern to lawmakers, particularly members of the Spanish opposition, are the numbers of deaths that have occurred in nursing homes where people really honestly don't care about other people, and other private facilities that are especially susceptible to the virus, and whether or not they are accurate, or even whether the government is deliberately trying to obscure the death toll to keep the mortality rate an already outrageous 10% from climbing even higher. To be sure, many experts suspect those double-digit mortality rates seen in Spain, but also in other countries, including Italy and the UK, are a sign that the virus is much more widespread than official tallies reflect. The countries with the most thorough testing, like Germany and South Korea, have kept their mortality rates at a fraction of 1%, which is certainly encouraging. In the US, the mortality rate has been pretty steady, though it ticked up to 5% this week. But remember, it's probably way lower because probably more people have it than you know.
Exactly.
As the debate over accurate accounting rages in Spain, Sanchez asked Parliament during a televised address last night to pass a plan to extend the lockdown, but began easing some of the more strict measures, like one requiring children to remain in the house. That's stupid. See, in Europe, like their lockdown measures are not sane. The Prime Minister hopes to have them playing outside again by the end of the month. Now, to conveniently support his argument for why Parliament should support his plan, the health ministry has reported its lowest single death toll in a month. I guess you haven't read the research that sunlight kills the virus. Things were also looking fairly rosy in the UK, which reported another 596 hospital deaths, a drop of nearly 300 from yesterday's tally, and that's today, so yesterday's was 888. Elsewhere in Russia, Vladimir Putin is... Putin? I didn't know there was an L there. Putin is being forced to reckon with the reality that SARS-CoV-19 has penetrated the Russian society to a much deeper extent than previously believed. The rate which new cases are being reported continued to accelerate on Sunday as health officials counted about 6,000 new cases over the past 24 hours, another record jump. And a total of 361 people have died, so says Russia. This year, Easter is being celebrated amid forced restrictions. Putin said on... Putin.
You're really struggling with that name.
Putin said... Putin said, that's Putin, as one word, okay, on Sunday, which is the traditional Easter celebration day for all Orthodox Christians. So today, happy Easter to Orthodox Christians like the Greeks and the Russians. These are essential in fighting the spread of the disease, he said. Signs of real progress in Europe and the U.S., not to mention South Korea, and a handful of other countries that acted aggressively and achieved outstanding results have helped ease the sense of terror brought on by lingering uncertainty. All right, so Singapore, the city-state won plaudits for containing the coronavirus early with strict contact tracing protocols, but it has seen densely, it looks like, but for some inexplicable reason, the densely populated city saw its total case count grow by 160% over the past week, with a jump of 1,000 new cases on Saturday. So there's your updates, your COVID-19 updates.
All right, so Curious Man says, hey, all, this has been on my mind. Can anyone tell me why the U.S., Canada, and China started investigating a virus that has never been a real problem for the human race? Now it's a problem. Adeline answered it pretty well. It was manufactured and engineered in a bioweapon, as a bioweapon. That might be why. Now, that is theory.
We're not saying bioweapon.
We're not saying bioweapon.
No, you can literally, it doesn't need to be.
Right.
It doesn't need to be.
Okay, but you can say manufactured.
Yes. It can have been tinkered on. And I wouldn't even go as far as to say manufactured. Okay?
I would.
No.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
No.
You don't need to say the word manufactured
just
to say, because no, you wouldn't use the word manufactured.
Okay.
Manufactured is something on a line. Okay? A manufacturing plant creates a car and a piece, and it continues. This wasn't manufactured in a lab. It wasn't a continual thing that was like made over and over and over again.
Okay, but I think now you're mincing at words.
No, but I think that it's really important to be careful with our words, especially when we cover this thing. So to be tinkered on, and actually, see, Bannon uses the right word, and I forget what it is, but there's a scientific word. I would say the word altered or even created, but manufactured is different because manufacturing denotes a continuation of something.
It had the hand of man involved.
Man-made.
Likely.
Man tinkered in the lab. We do know that they were working on these things in the lab in Wuhan, and we do know that the current coronavirus, the current coronavirus is like 96.4% the same genetic genome that sequence that of coronavirus that they admit that they're working on. Now, why are there strains of HIV in there? This is spread asymptomatically. HIV is spread asymptomatically. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to see what would happen if you could get something out there as a weapon,
right,
you would want it to be spread as easily as the common cold, but asymptomatically is like AIDS.
Right.
So, but we're not saying that that's what happened. But I'm saying that if you wanted to make a bioweapon, and we do know that China is working on bioweapons, and see, Bannon was saying in the Navy, they did bioweapons drills, and then they did nuclear drills. And actually, bioweapon drills were scarier because it was something that you could not see. And to say that there's no such thing as bioweapons, and to say that China isn't making or tinkering with bioweapons is crazy. It's just insane. everybody knows that China is working on biological things that could be weapons. Okay? And so, anyways.
Okay. There you go. So I had asked for song requests, and Redneck says "Eyes on a Sparrow." We're not going to sing that one because we want like a duet. Okay, Leah doesn't. We don't sing that one well together. All right, we need something else. Redneck also asks if I'm going to do a Bible study later. I hadn't thought about it. I have one ready. I'm not sure. Probably not, but maybe. You never know. Do you have a song?
No.
Me neither. It was the only suggestion.
That's the only suggestion. No, I don't have any songs off the top of my head. I get to the end of the show and I don't think of
We're
songs.
Unprepared.
My brain does not go to song. I think it's because we've been doing a lot of songs during the week. You need to do a song of the day.
We haven't had a chance to do
Why don't you just do a song of the day tonight and just say, hey, and then you can be ready for it. And then, because at the end of the show, we don't think straight. Be Thou My Vision. Here we go. We'll sing that one.
We sing that one a lot, but it's a good one.
Well, when you Google the 25 best hymns, you're going to come up with the same ones over and over again.
I know. Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart. Not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. Be thou my wisdom, and thou my true word. I ever with thee, and thou with me, Lord. Thou my great Father, I thy true Son. Thou in me dwelling, and I with thee one. Riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise. Thou mine inheritance, now and always. Thou and thou only, first in my heart. High King of heaven, my treasure thou art. High King of heaven, my victory is won. May I reach heaven's joys, oh bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, the whole ruler of all. Peace be still.
I got this sign up here, and I love looking at it. It's like, peace be still, peace be still, peace be still. I love that. One of our viewers made us a sign. Arthur. And he wood burned it, and it says, peace be still. So I'm looking at it. I should put it behind me so you guys can. But that's a message I just want to give you guys over and over again is peace be still. I'm bringing you these numbers. We're on the winning side. God is moving. God is changing. God is doing things. How about I read my little text message to the group, and we'll end with that.
Okay.
Okay, what?
So what? So it says, Leah is pregnant. I just know it. Somehow I know that. So, I don't even know how to take you serious sometimes.
It's okay. We'll move on from that. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
You know
what? Here's the thing. Unless you are the Virgin Mary, there is only one way that happens.
Yep.
Not happening in this house.
Nope. It'd be nice. That'd be nice. I want to have kids. We will soon. Someday soon. One day soon. Let 2020 be the year. All right. So.
Oh my gosh.
I sent this to a friend of mine because you guys have seen the same stuff we have online.
Did you find it?
I did. Hang on. I'm getting up to the top. All right. So, all right. I've been thinking a lot about people on the right that I follow, who I'm friends with, who quite frankly watch too much Fox News. It's all the economy, jobs. We need to get back to the way things were. No, children of God, we don't. We have been begging God to make changes, but like many who couldn't see who Jesus was, even Christians who should know better, cannot see the hand of God in all of this. God is causing the shutdowns. Christians need to calm down and stop protesting because God is using the left and the media to dig their own pit. Don't try to stop them. In America, 21 states have shut down their public schools for the rest of the year.
Yes, Lord.
Prostitution, I read an article, is down 80%.
Hallelujah.
Sports are not on TV. Hollywood is not making movies or TV. Dads are at home with their kids in many cases. Family units are getting stronger. The devil wants people to see the shutdown as totalitarian when in reality, it's all God. God moving and shaking things up and using his enemies to bring down real freedom. Freedom is not having to get up and go to school or to a job. Freedom is getting up and working on your own property for yourself and your family, not a corporate boss. And everybody is saying, you need to work from home. You need to work from home. And we're just like, I've been trying to say it.
Ain't I been saying it, Ernie?
You need to school your kids at home. Like, freedom is no taxes. Taxes were not due this week on April 15th. Bars are shut down. This is all very good. The way out is the way in. FDR got us into socialism, and guess what? This is how we're getting out. Here's a poem I wrote. Who will listen to what I am saying? Who will listen to the voice of the Lord? Who can see through the bushes and cut through the noise? Who can hear the wind whistling through the trees? Who will ask the Lord's wisdom down on their knees? Who can I send to the least of these? Are there no preachers, no men of God, who rely completely on his provisions and not a job? Parents being with their children is always a good thing. Money can't buy time or love or make your heart truly sing. Money, education, work, over and over like hamsters running on a wheel. We work our whole lives for stuff that's not even real. Getting off the train may cause some temporary pain, but what if God is working to make things right again? Stop fighting the plan of God. It's easier if you find his flow. When you are operating according to the kingdom of God, you'll just know. Peace be still is all I can say to the hectic hysteria of the day. I need money. I need health. Where is the government? I seek their help. No, my child. You need me. You need my son Jesus to protect and provide for thee. Turn away from the world, for it is rotting and corrupt, and listen to the wind of God and ask him to lift you up. Be still and know that I am God, and today starts the beginning of all things made new. You have asked me for this day, and I am bringing change to you. Change you begged for in the middle of the night. Change you cried for when all you wanted to do was just give up the fight. Don't be afraid, my child, for the battles are already being won. Many will come to know, rely on, and believe in my Son. Those ministers of the gospel who use this time to reap the harvest of men's souls, know that I have given them the keys to the kingdom and all power and control. Stop looking to the stock market or economic well-being. Seeing true value with heaven's eyes is really seeing. Listen with heaven's ears. Go wipe away those tears. I will heal what the enemy thinks he has accomplished over the years. Rape of the environment and nature all around. I hear the cries for help. Even the rocks make sound. So my children, the few of you who could hear my voice clear, this 2020 is the Jubilee year. Time for land and homes and farms to all be restored. Times for farms and families built up in sinful ways destroyed. Come home, every prodigal son. The Father calls out to you. You are his. You are one. Do not worry if schools and shops or restaurants don't open in a hurry. Families making good wholesome food at home is worth having to take out a small business loan. Life will return to a new sort of rhythm. This virus will dissipate, but the change it brought will be as sweet as an old hymn. No need to fight. Lay down your sword. Lift up your hands toward heaven and see the salvation of the Lord. Peace, my friends. Be still.
That's good. It's really, really good. It's a very anointed word.
Yay!
I think I saw something, somebody made like a little graph, and they got like a circle here, and a circle here, and a circle here, and then they all overlap in the center, and it says me. And one circle was taking COVID-19 seriously. One circle said also concerned about the economic issues that are happening, and then also concerned about government control and whatnot. And then there's me in the middle, okay? And you've got all these outliers. You're either this or you're this or you're this. And for some reason, you're not allowed to be just in the middle of, you know what, I'm taking all of that into consideration right now. And that's where I feel I've landed there. I'm like right in the middle. And I think that's where sanity is in all of this.
You get so much peace if you land in the middle. But if you cry, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and you're just focused on people taking away your freedoms.
Right.
Or you're just focused on how deadly the virus is. Or you're just focused on the economic things. That's where all the insane people are.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be one of them. Okay?
Critical
Your sanity
thinking
is in critical thinking about
they didn't
every
put,
single
I don't know where
aspect.
they're going to put the people like with Trump derangement syndrome, though, in those kind of circles.
They're just in the people scared of the virus now.
Yeah. Well, because they keep saying, like, Trump has literally killed all these people. And I'm going, okay, it was supposed to be millions dead. Okay, whether it was planned or not. We think it was planned.
The high number was 2.5 million.
It was supposed to kill millions of people. And the low target of 60,000, they are now saying it might not even reach this year. They're not sure. Of their lowest, like it wasn't, they've had to lower it from the Gates model.
2.5 million, 1.5 million, 100,000, 60,000, and it may not reach, and so, yeah.
And somehow, it's all Trump's fault. And I think that they don't understand. It's kind of like the guy in the Bible, the priest, who said it is prudent for one man to die that the rest should be saved. Meaning he was prophesying something and didn't even know it. So I think they don't realize what they're saying is it's all Trump's fault that more people didn't die.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that's what they're saying. They are that upset. They're trying to say that it's Trump's fault that people died. But what they are actually saying is it's all Trump's fault that the globalist plan of killing lots of people and taking all of the control didn't happen. And they're being parroted.
So I'm looking at the
that.
light. It looks like we have really nice white skin, but we're really like sunburnt right now, which is hilarious.
Well, it's what's behind us, because if you change that, it's all about what is behind us as far as, and I'm constantly throughout the show.
It's just funny. I just
adjusting the coloring
to where we might.
Well,
look more
it tries to do its own thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
This little system. It does this auto balance, and then I downloaded a program to let me kind of control a little bit the auto balance. But it's really the best that I can do.
There you look more like yourself.
I look like myself.
Yeah,
okay, we're gonna sign off.
Down.
We love you guys. God loves
British
you.
hat,
God bless.
God bless, guys.
We'll be back here on Friday for sure at 6 p.m. for our weekly roundup of news. Somewhere in between, we'll be doing some songs during the day. I will be doing a Bible study at some point. I know Redneck would like me to do one today. I'm not sure. It depends on the weather and what I have to do and making dinner and whatnot. So we'll see. We love you guys. God loves you. God bless. Remember,
it's not just a conspiracy theory.
If it's actually the truth. Okay, so we're gonna sign off here, and I'm learning the new system before the end of April.
So proud of you.
You should be, because it's literally terrifying to me. I don't like it, but I got it. Okay, we love you guys. God bless.
And then we have a hot mic.
I was cold all alone. No place for